Hi, everyone. I'm Shane Engstrom, the co-director of Outfilm Connecticut, and I wanted to thank you for joining us for the Q&A session for Swan Song. We are joined here by two special guests, Todd Stephens, and who's the director of the film and writer and producer, and Udo Kier, who is the star. So thank you both for joining us. I want to start off maybe with Todd with just a kind of a framing question around you said that this is a part 3 of your hometown trilogy series. So I know you started with Edge of 17 and Gypsy 83, but it's been 20 years since Gypsy 83, right?
You're not supposed to say that.
Oh. So just tell us a little bit about your journey with the trilogy.
My journey is that I mean, it was interesting with Gypsy 83. It kind of didn't do that well commercially. It had like a fan base, like a cult fan base. So, but it didn't. I remember the distributors at the time said like it wasn't gay enough, like they didn't know how to market it. Back at that time, it's like films with gay content were pretty much only marketed to gay people. You know, things have changed so much, thank God, over the years. But so the distributors had a hard time figuring out how to market it, and my feelings got hurt a bit, I think. I was reluctant to do another kind of personal project at the time. So I did these crazy comedies, another gay movie, another gay sequel. And it took me a lot of therapy and, like soul searching and stuff to get back to the point where I felt comfortable doing like a movie from my heart again, like that, Yeah. So that's basically it. And something, making these films is really difficult. It's like takes everything you have. So to find wait for an idea that I was that passionate enough to like die for, you know what I mean? So it just took a while, but finally with Swan Song it came.
That's great. I mean, I have to say we were very much fans of Gypsy 83. So
thank you.
So it seems like Sandusky, Ohio, is kind of a character in and of itself. Was it? And it seemed like the gay community there. It seemed like people were pretty respectful of the gay community. And is that what it is like in Sandusky today, or back in the day? And do you think it's changed?
Yeah, I mean, Sandusky has like an interesting gay history that goes back to the 1890s. It was a shipping port, and there was like a red light district downtown. But it's always kind of had this tradition of having like a gay subculture that has been pretty much left alone. The guys that ran the gay bars and started the gay bars like told me that they always got along well with the police. I don't know if they paid them off or what, but yeah, I mean, and me growing up being different, it wasn't easy. You get called names and stuff like that, as we all did, many of us, I'm sure. But they always kind of left the gay bars alone. When we went to shoot Edge of 17, there that was more than 20 years ago, and at that time we were afraid to tell people that it had gay subject matter because we were afraid that people wouldn't help us, And so we created a fake script, changed some names, and that was really weird, kind of going back into the closet, like for when I was making a movie about me coming out of the closet. And people did eventually find out what it was about, and we did have some problems with it. But fast forward to Swan Song 20 years later, when I first got home to start pre-production, they were doing the 3rd annual Gay Pride Festival there, and this is a pretty small town.
Yeah, that's great.
So things have changed a lot, and I mean, as Udo can tell you too, everybody helped. like the whole town just really, we couldn't have done it without the help of the town. They let our cast and crew stay in spare bedrooms and loaned us coffins for Linda Evans and, all that kind of stuff. So I feel like $1 in my hometown equals like $5, so.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So Mr. Pat was a real life person, real life icon, but was, in terms of the plot line, was that based in reality? Did he get hired to do a dead woman?
Well, Pat did do a lot of his clients for their funerals,
Yeah.
So when we went around location scouting to all the funeral homes, they all remembered Pat. And because that's a sign of respect to do for your client that you may have worked with for 10, 20, 30 years. And only the hairdresser knows how to properly do their hair. So Pat would always do that. But this particular, and there was a woman kind of in my hometown that's kind of like Rita Parker Sloan is based on. And there were a lot of, but the actual plot, not so much. I kind of like made that up, but a lot of the details, like the folding of the napkins and so many of those things did come from the real Mr. Pat, because I didn't really know him very well, but like I knew him just a little bit, but I did a lot of research and talked to his sister who's still alive and his family. Yeah. So, I heard like a lot of amazing stories, and those all influenced the script.
Since you brought that up, I think maybe I'll switch to Udo and ask you, Udo, in terms of preparing for the role, how did you prepare? Did you talk to people he knew, things like that? What was your?
Yes, let's start at the beginning. When I got the script sent to me, I liked the script very much, and then I wanted to meet Todd, and he came where I'm sitting now, here in this building, and we talked about it a lot, and he explained it to me, and I agreed to do it. And when I went there, I wanted to start the movie basically chronological. So we start in the retirement home, and I really lied in my bed with nobody, and everybody had to go away to get a feeling for it. And then I like the idea of folding little napkins because it's so crazy. And then when I stayed in town, I met people and friends of Pat, and we talked and movements, how he smoked with, with his holding his arm and things like that. And I heard a lot of stories, and which I liked. And when we start shooting, it was not a film studio. It was my town. I went to the thrift store because I wanted to see clothes, and the woman said, "Oh, you did my hair." Yeah, and I remembered her, so she gave me the suit. That's how I got that beautiful green David Bowie suit and a little hat, and she even put $100 in my pocket. And everybody, the actors were all wonderful. And the people who we went to restaurants or had a had a glass of wine or whatever, they were very nice. I never felt in a way that I was doing a movie. I was, I, I had my suit. I went to sit down for a glass of wine, and I give him a big tip, and I go. It was all. I lived near the street where I had a house where I stayed, and in that house I could go to the main street 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and everything was there, and that gives the feeling of like Lars von Trier says to all his actors, don't act. And that gave me the feeling I did not act. I was Pat. I was pet. People liked me. I had a history, and I go to the clubs, and they don't recognize me anymore. So I have to do something special. So they
Yeah.
all recognize me again. And no, I had a great time, and I liked the script so much, and the whole atmosphere. It's like I can't wait to see it on a big screen. I
Yeah.
never saw it on a big screen.
So we're actually playing it on the big screen, and it's a big, beautiful theater called Cine Studio.
Uh huh.
So anytime you want to stop by, let me know. I'll put it up there for you.
That's,
But
that's
one other
nice.
question: was there anything about Mr. Pat that you identified with personally, or that you really admired about him?
Well, it was more what I admired about him. Personally, I lived personally, I grew up in Germany, and when I grew up, there were even a paragraph called 175 against homosexual people, and I was a young boy. I mean, I didn't know what that all meant, and but that was to grow up in. I went to England to learn English because we didn't have money to send me to high school, and I remember at the American embassy that I went for my visa. I wanted when I was 21 visit New York, and then it had a question: Are you homosexual? And if you would have right yes, you would have never got to America at that time. And so I think that the LGBT did enormously over in a short period of time. I mean, it's look now people. I have a license. I can marry people, and who would have if you would have said 30 years ago, one day you can get a license and you can marry your friends, I would say, are you crazy? But that's how things has changed. And I had a good director in Todd who guided me through. And that was, we just in the morning had a coffee and I got my green suit, and then we start doing the scene of the day, going to that store, trying to find my material, and to work with Linda Evans. How professional is she?
Yeah.
I have made, we don't want to say numbers, but I have made 50 years so many movies, but she is one of the most professional person I worked with. We
I,
rehearsed, we rehearsed, we rehearsed, we rehearsed, and then came the moment, now I get my hair standing up. The moment came and it was us. There was nothing what we wanted to say. It came out of us. And, saying to her, why did you not come anymore? Because my friend died. And she said, well, I couldn't deal with the AIDS. It was all, and
yeah.
it was amazing. And I like the woman in the retirement home not speaking
Yeah.
and trying
Did
with
her
her
hair.
hand and give her a cigarette. Beautiful, 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 beautiful people.
Yeah.
And the woman in the Swift second-hand store,
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful.
There are a lot of beautiful touches there, definitely. And I have to say, you really did rock that leisure suit. I mean, it looked great on you.
I liked it. And Jennifer, of course, very, very professional. I like that too. When I go to I need that special stuff to do her hair, Linda's hair. Now it's like the green suit. I wouldn't wear a green suit now. But in a little clean town with a clean street, it stood out so much, but nobody cared. I was the man in a green suit, and when I had time, I went to a bar and had a drink because they changed the decoration or something. It was everything was, even if it's a gay story, it was a normal situation.
Yeah.
All the way. It was nothing over the top.
Since you talked a little bit about the other cast members, maybe I'll ask Todd if you could talk a little bit about the casting process and how you were able to land all these amazing actors, Linda Evans and
The casting process was really difficult, especially to cast Udo's part. I mean, you know, I think I spent more than a year trying to figure out the right person to play Pat. And
You wanted Tom Cruise, right?
yeah, Tom Cruise was not available.
uh,
But no, it was a tough part to play. You know what I mean? Like, and have it to not be over the top or not be like fake or a put on, or you know what I mean? So the real Mr. Pat was from West Virginia. He had like kind of like a Southern accent. And so, to be honest, the last thing I expected was to cast an actor from Germany, you know, with a German accent. And I remember asking Udo, like, do you think that we should we consider like doing an American accent? And Udo was like, no, let's not do that, you know. And so it took me a little bit of an adjustment, but I think that almost adds to the magic of the character, that he is from a different place, you know. And I don't know, when I went to meet Udo, we just really connected, and I knew that he could relate to the story, and we just really became friends, you know. And I think that was really important, to have that trust between a director and an actor, that you're on the same page and that you just have fun being together and trust each other. And I just felt that right away, you know. So that was the hard one. Linda Evans, we sent her the script and right away she responded to it. You know, I had forgotten about the whole thing with Rock Hudson when she was on Dynasty, and that she kissed Rock Hudson right when it came out that he had AIDS, and how Linda stood up for Rock Hudson, and I forgot about all of that. But I think that she has some personal, you know, connections to the story, and just it really resonated with her. And she is honestly one of the nicest, sweetest people in the world, besides being professional, like Udo was talking about. Such a pro. And she said, you know, she learned from Barbara Stanwyck and, you know, old school. And she's so damn nice. I mean, she's just like the sweetest person, you know.
Yeah.
And we were shooting in that room in the funeral home, and it was like 105 degrees in there. And these two never complained. They didn't sweat. I don't even know how. Udo, how do you control your sweat? I don't know. But it's like they didn't even sweat, and you know, it was tough shoot. Like it was. We shot the whole thing in 18 days. We had no money, you know, and it was just everybody was there because they loved the script and connected to it, you know. So when you have that kind of energy, it creates like a magic, you know. People aren't really doing it for the money. Nobody's getting rich, but they're doing it because they love the project. Same with Jennifer Coolidge. She was my first choice to play Dee Dee. I've worshipped her like ever since I've seen her in American Pie. I've been like obsessed with her. And she, you know, we offered her the part a long time ago. Never heard anything. We tried several times. You know, again, it's not like we have a lot of money to throw at the actors. So her agent just ignored us, to be honest. you know?
Mhm.
And finally, at the very last minute, we got through to her. And once she finally read it, she was like, "Oh my God, I love this," you know?
Yeah.
So that was a dream to work with her. And, you know, of course, she improvs a lot, and you never know what she's going to say or do exactly. And that was a little different than how we had been used to working, you know?
Yeah.
But it was fun, and she really kind of shook things up in a great way. And I love that she shows a different side of herself, you know, in this role that we haven't really seen before, and that makes me proud, you know.
So tell me about Vivante. Is it a real product? What is it exactly?
Vivante.
Vivante.
Vivante. I don't know if it's a real project, but it was in the script, so it became real for me. But yeah, I'm sure. Vivante, vivant, live.
Yeah.
It
Mm-hmm.
means the
Mm-hmm.
hair becomes alive.
Mm-hmm.
So to use the material, the hair becomes alive on a dead person is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Vivo.
mean, I made it up. It's not a real product, and my production designer like created the bottle, and we wanted to be very 70s. And yeah, my understanding is I just think I looked up the French live word to live,
Yeah.
and it said
Vivante.
vivante, and that's what the story is about to me, you know, is like living, and live while you're still breathing, live, you know what I mean? And here's a character that the beginning of the story I think was kind of dead, you know, was just like had given up, and rediscovered the joy of life and doing what he loved to do with his brilliant hands that were just folding nonsense but could actually come back to life. And Pat was an artist, you know, with hair. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that's what he's searching for life, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's kind of what it meant for me.
Vivante.
Um, Tell me a little bit about the music in the film. I mean, it's a great soundtrack. It's going to be a great soundtrack. You had some really iconic tunes there. Is there going to be a soundtrack for the film?
Yeah, I would love there to be, but I've been told that they don't really do soundtracks like that anymore. But certainly like a Spotify playlist or what and stuff we're going to create. But it was you know, all of those songs, a lot of them were the real Mr. Pat's favorite songs, like the Shirley Bassey song "This Is My Life." That was like his theme song. And I've had like a playlist, Mr. Pat playlist, for 20 years of these songs that I've been putting in it. And you know, when I wrote the script, I listened to those songs, and it inspired me. And it was the weirdest thing. Like I've never had this happen before when I made a movie, but every single song that I wanted to put in it, we got the rights for. So it was like, you know, we always felt that people were the real Mr. Pat, you know, the spirits of whoever were kind of looking out for us. And everything, yeah, that was a dream. Judy Garland, Dusty Springfield, Melissa Manchester, you know, my God, you know. And then the songs are amazing. And then my younger brother Chris did the score, the original score, which
Yeah.
I think is also amazing and really like just lends so much emotion to the film, you know. So yeah, music is a big inspiration for me. So I, I was really honored that we were able to get those songs for not a huge amount of money.
That's great. Udo, I just wanted to thank you also for everything that you have done for the LGBTQ community in the past. And I know that you've won a special Teddy Award from the Berlinale.
Yes.
And you were actually in one of the very first gay film that I watched in the theater, which was My Own Private Idaho. Yeah, so you probably get that a lot, but it was kind of life changing for me, and I think for a lot of people, and I want to thank you for your efforts and for your support of the community. So what's the future for the film, Todd? Will it be theatrically released?
Yeah, it's going to be released on August 6th. theatrically. I'm, waiting to hear. It's being put out by Magnolia Pictures, who's a great distributor. Right now, we're finishing the trailer and working on the poster. So yeah, it's going to be in an good old fashioned movie theater, just like it should be seen. So we're hoping by the time August rolls around that people are coming back to the movies.
They definitely are.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Yeah, well, they already are. I mean, movies, there's been a couple movies recently that are finally starting to make some money back in the box office. And so we're hoping our timing is good,
Yeah.
This movie about somebody who's basically been quarantined from life, kind of coming back to do his last dance, sort of. And I think I think the timing is going to be good,
Yes.
And then a week later, it will go on video on demand, like on iTunes, Amazon, things like that. I think at some point it will ultimately be on Hulu, in the future. So,
yeah.
But I really encourage people, if they liked it, these kind of movies really need a lot of support, especially in the opening weekend and stuff like that. So if you liked it, like tell your friends, spread the word. Because the better it does, the longer we can stay in the theater and all that.
And what about you, Udo? What's up next for you?
Well, first I was amazed that when Todd called me, that in Monte Carlo, I've been in Monte Carlo, which is a very strange audience, millionaires, and because it's the paradise, not paying tax. And when Todd said you got the award Best Actor in Monte Carlo, I couldn't believe it. And then the audience award on top of it, wonderful, wonderful, because Monte Carlo is a very special place. I will continue working. I might be in Hunters with Al Pacino, and there is, it's at the moment because Todd's film is so strong, and I talk to many people about it. It's like I take it easy. I work in the garden. I play with my dog because time is the sin. And, I don't want to sin. I just want to live. And so I continue doing what I do. I got a few offers, but I don't like to talk about things if they're not written. And yes, you know me. I played so many. I played the Pope in Borgia. I played Dracula. I played Frankenstein. There's always a new thing. And Todd's film, I think, and our work together, why people like it so much, because I have the lead. So you can follow me. In other American movies, they were very big, but it was supporting part. So they say, oh, I like that. That was good. What is his name, that German guy? Good, good. But in Todd's film, I opened the film and I closed the film. And a lot of things in between. And that's why I'm very grateful to Todd and everybody who was involved in this movie, because everybody was very, very kind to me.
All right. Well, I want to thank both of you and wish you all the best with the film and your future projects. So thank you so much for joining us. Any last comments?
And I'll see you maybe another year in Palm Springs.
Yeah,
for
maybe.
the film festival.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
All right. Thank you very much.
Shane.
Okay. Bye,
See ya.
Shane.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.